Morning. We're on Matthew 8, reading from verse 18 to 22. We're looking at the cost of following Christ. Now, when Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to depart to the other side of the sea. Then a scribe came and said to him, "Teacher, I'll follow you wherever you go." There's many folk that will say, "I'll follow you, Jesus, I'll do what you want to do." Many folk have a heart to do the right thing, but there's a cost at following Jesus. They don't realize that Jesus got persecuted, they'll get persecuted. And part of following Jesus is the suffering that comes with it. A lot of people have been given a health, wealth, prosperity gospel, which basically says if you come to Christ, you're going to be healthy, wealthy, and well. But that's not the true gospel. The true gospel is that you need to daily carry your cross, and that if you are going to walk in Jesus' footsteps, just as he was persecuted, you'll be persecuted. And there's also suffering that comes with it. And so maybe the scribe didn't understand the cost of following Christ. So he says, "I'll go wherever you go." And Jesus said to him, "The foxes have holes and the birds of air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." It's interesting that Christ didn't have a home. He didn't have his own bed. Even the animals have got little nests, they've got holes to go crawl back into. But Jesus had none of that. And the disciples that followed him had none of that. Jesus always promised food and clothing, but there was never a promise of a roof over their heads. And so there's always a cost at following Jesus. Another one of his disciples said to him, "Lord, permit me first to go and bury my father." Now that's a saying, a common figure of speech in those days of let me wait until I get my inheritance. In other words, let me first get my ducks in a row, get financially stable, and then I'll follow you. And again, we need to follow Jesus at all costs. Disciples, when they were called, they gave up their profession. Some of them were fishermen, and they just literally left their nets and followed Christ. And so that's what it calls. It costs giving up everything and following after him. But as soon as we start counting the costs and say, "Let me do this, let me do that," then the flesh creeps in and we start making excuses of why we can't follow Jesus. So Jesus says, "Let the dead bury their dead." When he got up into the boat, his disciples followed him. And so those that want to be disciples end up turning away, but the true disciples will follow after Jesus. But the true disciples know that there is a cost at following. Luke 9:23, and he said to all of them, "If anyone come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me." That means there's going to be suffering involved if you're taking up your cross. "For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it." In Luke 14, verse 33. "So therefore, any one of you who does not renounce all that he has cannot be my disciple." There's a renouncing, there's a putting off, there's a denying oneself, there's a total following after Christ, and that's what the call and the cost is of following Jesus.